Batman Begins is an action movie made by a director who could not direct action at the time. But I feel like Christopher Nolan may have realized that he could not sell the audience on Batman's fighting skills, and instead focuses on creating a Batman that is more than just a man.
And you become something else entirely. Which is legend.
In order to understand where Batman Begins succeeds with its action, you first have to understand how it fails. One of the first things you see in Batman Begins, or rather, don't see, is Bruce Wayne taking on a group of prisoners. The camera work often leaves too much out of frame, and there is so much shaky cam. Shaky cam can be incredibly useful in selling the impact of an action, but here it ends up obscuring the view rather than guiding the audience through the action. But I still don't hate this first fight scene. The initial strikes are shot well, and it makes it clear that Bruce isn't as skilled as his confidence makes him out to be. There's a chaos to the group fight, and the lack of coherence to the fight matches well with Bruce Wayne being way out of his depth here. The shaky shots don't just exist in a vacuum, though. The other part of the issue is how the fights are cut up. We get close-up shots that are hard to make out, that are then connected to wide shots that are also hard to make out. The temple fight later on has some of the most egregious cuts. I understand that it's supposed to be a frantic scene, but the film continuously interrupts the duel to show guys running away, and it just takes away from the chaos of the actual sword fight that I want to watch. I don't care about this bozo. To give an example of an action scene shot and edited right, I will use a film from Christopher Nolan himself.
I ordered my hot sauce an hour ago.
Nolan had long since figured out action by the time Tenet came out, and it's really well done here in the kitchen scene. Here we do still see cutaways to other characters not involved in the fight, but these cutaways are during small breaks in the action and allow us to see other characters and build on the emotional tension of the fight.
Please.
He wants you to see.
The cuts to these random cloaks running around in the background and getting blown up take away from the one-on-one fight happening and just distract the viewer rather than building on the tension. However, we haven't even gotten to the worst fight. The worst fight cut up is the League of Shadows fight near the climax of the film. We are hearing all the action, but the cut-up keeps obscuring the view. The choreography isn't bad, and some of the shots in cut-up have impact, but most of it is just too fast for its own good. The kitchen sequence shows how cutting is still an effective way to convey impact. Camera angles reverse on impact, and it makes the blow feel stronger than it would have been had the action happened in one shot. The difference is with the kitchen scene is that you get to take in all that action, and the camera isn't focusing on the goon's shoe or something. Action camera work is meant to hide the fact that this is choreography and no one is actually getting hurt. But so much of Batman Begins' camera work hides the action itself. But the nice thing about this movie is that it isn't just about a martial artist. It's about Batman. I know, crazy. Bruce Wayne wants to create a legend that is more than just a man and wants to turn the fear that haunts Gotham against its oppressors.
Now that's power you can't buy. That's the power of fear.
The way that Nolan starts this legend is done masterfully. The first duel with Ducard is a genius training sequence. Weaving Batman's training in with his duel with Ducard on the ice allows for the training sequence to not take up too much time while still remaining impactful. It ending with Bruce losing is also a great subversion, and it also highlights one of his greatest weaknesses, at least in the eyes of the League of Shadows, and that is that he is too emotionally invested. When he returns to Gotham City, the legend that Bruce seeks takes its true form in the scene at the docks. It is here that Nolan uses the film techniques that have plagued the film's other action sequences. But here, he ends up executing one of my favorite Batman moments ever. The way the fight at the docks is filmed takes on a tone more akin to horror rather than action. All the same quick cut-ups and dashing camera movements are all still here, but the way they are utilized here adds a completely new perspective. Batman is like a xenomorph from Alien, hidden away as the victims are made the subjects of the frame. Guards are taken away into the dark one by one. They become increasingly more frantic. One shoots at the shadows. Is that a shadow, or is it the figure haunting them? They only get quick glimpses at the figure before being whisked away. Nolan also isn't afraid to be a little playful here, too.
Where are you?
When Falcone goes to investigate the dock himself, he sees his henchmen being attacked by something. The figure is impossible to make out, and it just takes out Falcone's henchmen in a frenzy. The editing works so well here to obscure Batman, barely giving us any time with any given shot. This puts the audience in the shoes of Falcone as he watches a shadow with no discernible human traits tear apart his business. It reveals the irony of the film's villains, with the feared being the ones made so easily afraid.
And you always fear. But you don't understand. What the hell are you?
Batman Begins doesn't have the most extravagant set pieces compared to the rest of the trilogy, and many of the fight scenes leave a lot to be desired. But when it plays into its flaws, it creates some of the best visual storytelling in the trilogy. It is an incredible showcase of filmmakers being able to work with their flaws to create something wholly unique. By obscuring the audience from the action, we are able to experience a fight scene that captures a figure that is more than just a man. Batman Begins is what makes Batman a legend, like the stories of old.